What's up, YouTube? Welcome to another episode of my CD collection. Um, yeah, so I'm about to show you guys some new picks, new CDs I got. I got a couple new joints. Here I go. First CD I wanted to do today is Logic's his second official studio album, The Incredible True Story, released in released in 2015 on Def Jam. You guys should know who Logic is. Very dope MC in my opinion. He dropped his first album, Under Pressure, in 2014, and he came out with this joint. Um, Singles I'm known for are Young Jesus, Like Whoa, and Fade Away. Very good album in my opinion. Logic, he does not really, in my opinion, he does not get the credit he deserves when it comes to like other MCs. I don't know why a lot of people shit on Logic sometimes though. I love this album. I love the science fiction atmosphere in this album. Very good album. Must have your collection. Most definitely gonna do a review on this. Next album is Pink Floyd Animals, released in 1977 on Harvest under EMI. By the way, speaking of Pink Floyd, I'm actually gonna redo my review on Dark Side of the Moon and stuff like that. So stay tuned for that, cause that the video they try to block my video. So yeah, Pink Floyd Animals. Yeah, so this came out 1977. Very good album in my opinion. A slept on album if you ask me. This was recorded around the time when punk rock was on the rise, and Pink Floyd at that time was kind of losing a little popularity. I mean, they were still popular, but they weren't as popular as like say Dark Side of the Moon or Wish You Were Here. And so the concept of this album was like it's based on that book Animal Farm. I know all my cats have read that book before, so anyway, and also like this album had really no singles. It's like a very short album, like 5 songs. And my favorite song off this album, I must swear, is Dogs. I love that song. I mean, the like vocals on the song, like David Gilmour and I think Richard Wright sing on that song. Very dope song. And this is actually the 2011 reissue and stuff like that. So Pink Floyd, Animals, in 1977. Then we got Quincy Jones with The Dude, released in 1981 on A&M Records. Everyone in the world knows who Quincy Jones is. One of the most influential, producers. Very amazing. Like he has done work with like Frank Sinatra, Bill Cosby. Um, excuse me. Yeah, Frank Sinatra, Bill Cosby, I believe Ella Fitzgerald, and of course everyone knows him for his work with Michael Jackson. Alright, and this album was actually notable because of the fact that it was the first appearance of James Ingram. And like James Ingram, like one of the most, he's like one of the best singers of his time. I mean, he does not get the credit he deserves. Like he was on songs, I think, Just Once and 100 Ways, which were both singles, and also I know Corinda was single too. And yeah, this is a very good album. Like it actually won 3 Grammy awards and stuff like that. So it must have in your collection. I know at times this album can a lot of people kind of call this album a little bit cheesy, but like a lot of some jazz like around the '80s will kind of get into that cheesy point like we're using like synthesizers and stuff. Cause my favorite era of jazz has got to be like the late '40s all the way up to I guess like 1977, 78. I mean, I love jazz, period, but that's like my favorite era of jazz. Anyway, Quincy Jones, the dude, 1981, must have in your collection. His album should still be in print. Then we got, I'm gonna save those. I'm gonna save these three for last. We got one of my favorite hip hop groups, a Tribe Called Quest, Beats Rhymes Life, released in 1996 on Jive Records. I talked about their first three albums, Peoples and Things and Travels and Paths, The Low End Theory, which is by far my favorite album from them. I know a lot of people like Midnight Marauders. I do love that album. Midnight Marauders is the next album. I do love that album, but Low End Theory speaks volumes for me, in my opinion. Some days I might say Midnight Marauders is my favorite album, though, but I'm getting off topic. So, this came out 3 years after Midnight Marauders, and this album was probably like their most darkest effort. Because around this time, the East Coast West Coast beef was going on. Q-Tip got in a beef with like Ice Cube and shit. And I'm gonna get into that later on. But the singles off this album are Once Again and I'm Stressed Out featuring Faith Evans. Oh, once again featuring Tammy Lucas. Yes, and believe it or not, this is actually the first appearance of like the Umna, which was like a group consisting of Q-Tip. Hold on. It's Q-Tip, J Dilla, and what's the dude's name? Ali Shaheed Muhammad. Damn, I can't believe I forgot his name. And Q-Tip's cousin Consequence, which a lot of people know these days as like affiliated with Kanye West. He actually was appearing a lot on this album, and you didn't really get to hear a lot of Fife on this album because of the fact like this was around the time when Tribe Called Quest, like their chemistry, it was like their chemistry was just way off. Like it wasn't as the chemistry was as good as like the first three albums. Cause I think Q-Tip and Fife were like beefing, and like every time like Fife went into the studio, and Q-Tip and Consequence would like already finished the song and shit, and that's like whoa damn, and like that's why a lot of people do not really like this album because there's not enough Fife and there's not enough Fife. It was a bit too darker, and it's like they were trying to like force them to get used to Consequence and shit. And also the song track number 10, Keeping It Moving, he actually responded to the diss on West Side Connections, crossing out to put a KAK off the Bow Down album, an album that I reviewed and I mentioned this album countless times. Very dope album in my opinion. So like this album, in my opinion, one of the probably the most underrated joint. I mean, they went really experimental. Like they went for that more like how can I put this? It's like the production was like really captured the album. Like you can like it's like a nighttime kind of record and shit. That's how I see it. And a lot of people were not used to Tribe being all angry and stuff. And because they were like they wanted like a Midnight Marauders too. But if y'all just give this album a chance, you guys will most definitely love it. And we all know the Love Movement was their last studio album. I'm gonna save my opinion on the Love Movement. I'm just gonna say my opinion until I cop it. So Beats Rhymes Life, their fourth studio album. Oh, and this actually nominated for a Grammy for Best Rap Album in 1997. And also, I forgot. Jay Dilla, who was not known as Jay Dilla at the time, he was known as JD. And JD, he's more like for the atmospheric experimental sound. When Jay Dilla's like more for that soulful kind of sound. I just thought I'd throw that out there. Then we have The Doors with the Soft Parade, released in 1969 on Elektra Records. I already talked about their, excuse me, I already talked about their, what's the album called? Their first studio album, The Doors, which I showed on my vinyl. I'm sorry, one moment. Okay, sorry about that. Alright, so singles I was known for, um, Touch Me, Wild Child, Wishful Sinful, Who Scares You, Tell Other People, Easy Ride, Running Blue, and Do It. That's basically like all the songs. 1969 was a very tough year for the group. For one, Morrison was actually he actually got more into his alcohol addiction, and he was actually writing more poetry, while Robbie Krieger he wrote like half the songs and shit. And also that same year, Jim Morrison was actually arrested because he was on concert, he was drunk, and like he basically showed his dick to the whole crowd and shit. So yeah, and also like this album, a lot of cats have said that this album was like they didn't like a lot of Doors fans do not like this album because they were using more horns and they were like not used to the sound of this album. Like a lot of people thought they were kind of like selling out and like because when I listen to this album, it reminds me of Blood, Sweat, Tears, that group, and Chicago mixed together. I mean, but that does not mean that I hate this album. Yes, a lot of people have said this is like the weakest album, but at the same time, there's still some good shit on this. Like, my favorite song has got to be the Soft Parade. Very, very dope song, and it runs for like 8 minutes and 40 seconds. So if y'all just give this album a chance, you'll find something like it may not be your. It's just like their most experimental record. So, and this is actually the 2012 remastered edition, and I was kind of worried for picking this album up because the fact that like the Doors, the remastered version of the Doors, a lot of people have said that they were not that good. But at the same time, I was like, fuck it. I was like, fuck it because I needed an album from the Doors. I need some more Doors album. But the Doors, the Soft Parade, 1969. All right, now these last three albums, I had to get. Yeah. All right. David Bowie, Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust, and the Stars of Mars, released in 1972 on RCA Records. Rest in peace, David Bowie. I mean, I had to pick these up, and the crazy thing about this is like David Bowie stuff. It's like kind of hard to find where I live at, but like once he died, that's when I saw like a lot of his albums in stores and shit. And so this is like one of the best concept albums ever. Like you don't really hear shit like this no more. Like singles albums known for are Starman, Rock and Roll Suicide, Suffragette City, and Ziggy Stardust. Although like it wasn't released as a single initially when this album came out, it was actually released like a single on the concept film Ziggy Stardust. So I just thought I'd throw that out. Basically the concept of the rise and fall of Ziggy Stardust and Rise of Mars is basically about the bisexual alien superstar named Ziggy Stardust and like what he sees like through life like politics and drug use and things like that. This is the album that actually made David Bowie a superstar. Although Hunky Dory got him attention, this album like made him like a rock superstar and shit. So, and this is the 2012 remastered edition, classic album, in my opinion, must have in your collection. And then we have his next album he released in the following year, Aladdin Sane, released in 1973. Um, Very good album again. Yes, he did went like more harder with his album. Singles I was known for are Driving Saturday, Time, his cover of like Let's Spend the Night Together, and Jean Genie. Jean Genie was like that was like the song that actually really made me a fan of David. One of the songs that made me a fan of David Bowie. Because I remember when I first saw that video on VH1 Classic back in high school, and like at that time I was kind of like taking a break from hip hop because I don't know, 2010 was not like one of my favorite years for hip hop. 2010, 2011, and so I came across the video for Genie Genie, and it was like dope, and like I loved the beat, like dun 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 dun. And originally the the album was like based on stuff like David Bowie and his band saw on the U.S. tour. So basically, the original title of the album was supposed to call Ziggy Goes to America. Other than that, another classic album, um, landmark album, in my opinion. I mean, David Bowie in the '70s. That's all I have to say. And the last album, which is probably my favorite David Bowie album, boom, David Bowie, Station to Station, 1976. Um, by the way, that was a 2013 Mastered Edition. This album is unbelievably great. I mean, he just this was around the time when he became like the Thin White Duke, and at the same time he was getting to his cocaine addiction. And yeah, very good album. Like singles I was known for are Golden Years, Station to Station. I love that song. TVC 15 and Stay. One thing like about this album is like the fact that like this is like a transitional period because this album was released um before like his the Berlin trilogy, and the Berlin trilogy, like although it's well liked by many fans, especially myself included, I kind of feel like those albums like a bit overrated and on his fan base. I mean, I do not hate those albums, but at the same time, it's not like my favorite. This is like my favorite album. And besides, in the Berlin trilogy, my favorite album from the Berlin trilogy is actually um Larger. But I'm gonna save that topic for a different day. Cause like when this he released like the Young Americans album in 1975, and that album had more like a soulful sound. You get the soulful sound with this album, but at the same time, you get like it's like more darker and shit. So yeah, very good album, in my opinion. The classic album. I mean, if there was one David Bowie album you had to have, it's this one. This is Station to Station, and that's all the time I have. Rest in peace to David Bowie. Oh, and rest in peace to Glenn Free from the Eagles and shit. I thought I'd throw that out there. So stay tuned for more stuff. I might try to do a vinyl collection video later. Peace.